Alrighty, what's up everyone? Good morning, good morning. Can you guys hear me and see my screen? What's up everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Tuesday, December the 30th. We're coming close to end of year here in the overall markets. As for yesterday, really not too much. As you can see, just a lot of range here on both the SPY and the QQQ. Of course, Qs has been lagging kind of behind along with the rest of tech here as well. What's up everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Good morning, Robert, B Roots, Victor, Cinna. Good morning, Cody, Vic, Gerald, Wayne, Eileen, Jim, Miss Reggie. What's up everyone? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, let's kind of go over the usual game plan, go over some major indices, and then we'll head on to some tech names here, of course. Let's first start off on the SPY and Qs. Let's go into the futures, and then we'll go into indices. So first things first. So coming into today, as you can see for the overall markets, really not too much has been going on the past, really, I'd say, honestly, a month, specifically on the NQ. As for the ES, we recently the SPY, we recently gravitated towards our all-time highs, which was nice, but overall, right, tech has been lagging behind, which is specifically the NASDAQ. So at least coming into today here for the overall markets, the key levels that we're going to have marked out is going to be your 6,900, and then we also have your key level from yesterday here as well, which is our 6,930. So coming into today here for the overall markets, what we're just going to have marked out is just going to be that previous day highs along with that previous day lows. This is going to be key coming into today. If we do want to see any sort of upside, we personally like to see it above your previous day highs for continuation. Overall, a lot of the names have been just ranging. We've been bouncing off key levels of support. We've been rejecting off key levels of resistance. So for the overall markets, if you've been looking for continuation, you really haven't gotten that in the past couple of weeks. If you've been looking for more rejections and mean reversions, there's been a couple opportunities here and there, but even then there hasn't been much in the past couple of weeks. So key level for the ES coming into today is going to be that 6,960 for continuation towards the upside. If you want to see any sort of potential downside, if you want to see any sort of potential bounce play, we're going to be looking for the bounce off of your 6,930. So that's what we have for the ES coming into market open. If you want to see some downside or potential rejections, we could be looking for the pop and fade off of your 6,960, or now it's going to be underneath your previous day lows for this continuation towards the downside. I think trading in between this range today is going to be a little bit trickier. Of course, you can go onto the lower time frames, but trading really in between this range is going to be especially a lot more difficult here on the ES and along with the other indices as well. As if we go on to the SPY chart, coming into today, the key levels that we have on the SPY, fairly similar. We actually have other levels marked out, which is just your previous all-time highs. If we're marking out your previous day highs, which is all the way back up and towards your 689. We can also mark out our previous day lows, which happens to be this 686. So coming to market open here on SPY, we actually have three levels marked out. We have your previous day highs, previous day lows, and your previous all-time highs. If we do want to see upside, we can be looking for the bounce play off our previous day lows, potential reclaim back above your previous all-time highs, or now it's going to be all the way back above your 689. So these are the couple scenarios that we have marked out on the SPY chart coming into today. So as I mentioned, I'm not as interested in trading in between this range. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult, so I'm going to be more hands off if we are inside the range, and I'm going to wait for clear confirmation. If we go on to now, some scenarios for potential moves lower here for the SPY. You could be looking for the break underneath your 688 for this continued push towards the downside. Of course, another possible scenario here as well is now going to be underneath that previous day lows for that continuation lower. And then we also have, right, of course, that pop and fade that could play into, we do have that pop and fade that we can be looking for. That's going to be off that 689 for that continued push back down in towards that 688. So these are the levels that we have on SPY coming into today along with the ES. Right now, we're currently opening up right in between the middle of Monday's range. So as I mentioned, we want to be a little bit more cautious here. Let's go on to the NQ chart. Some other things to mention here is that we do have some red folder news. I think we do have FOMC minutes later today. Normally it is on a Wednesday, but of course, as you guys know, we do have a market holiday on Thursday. So I think it got moved to today, which is going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then of course, Wednesday, and then we have Thursday, which is a market holiday, which is New Year's. And then on Friday, the market is going to be open once again. So coming into today here for the NQYs, similar kind of scenario. As you can see, we're just kind of back inside this consolidation period. Sorry, this consolidation area. As I mentioned yesterday, the key areas that we have marked out was that 25,800 along with our 25,650. And we end up having this nice kind of pop and fade right off the bat, right back down in towards this general area. If you are looking at this from a higher time frame perspective, longs will be best above your 25,800 for continuation higher, or they will be the best off of now. It's going to be that previous day lows, which is your 25,650. So this is what we have at least on the 1 hour chart. If we go on to the lower time frames, you can see this a little bit more clear. We can be looking for the trade up in towards our previous day highs. We could be looking for the break and retest above your previous day highs, or now it's going to be, as I mentioned, the bounce off your previous day lows. If we're looking at short side scenarios, we can be looking for the pop and fade off of your 25,780, or now it's going to be the break underneath that previous day lows for that continuation all the way back towards the downside. So this is what we have coming into market open on the NQ. Now let's go on to the QQQ chart. So for the QQQ chart, we have a couple more levels here on the Qs, but fairly similar thesis on the Qs. We're kind of just drawing out this level of consolidation. If we do want to see upside, I do like upside, as I mentioned, above our 622. If we can get above this key pivot high, which as you can see, previous resistance yesterday, we can see a pushback towards the highs here above that 622. So that's going to be key here for the Qs coming into market open. Let's go back onto the lower time frames. So coming into today, we have a clear level of resistance, 621.50s actually. If we can get above it, we can see some continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario is consolidation, break above it later into the session for this continuation higher here as well. So really, these are the two scenarios that I like for longs on Qs. It's going to be above our 621.50, which is a higher time frame key level. If we are looking at potential shorts, pop and fade off that 621.50 is in play. Or now it's going to be consolidation, just kind of push towards the downside. Really, I only like shorts, either the pop and fade, or now would have to be underneath that previous day lows, which is a little bit farther away for that continuation lower. So coming into market open, we'll keep an eye out on your 621.50 here for the QQQ. And as for the SPY chart, we'll keep an eye out on your 688, at least right off the bat. So both these names are in between the middle of the range, so I'm not expecting much right into market open. So we'll wait for the first kind of 15 to 30 minutes to play out for the market to pick a clear direction. If there's no clear direction, then we're going to be a little bit more hands off. Okay, now let's go on to some tech names. Really not too much going on the tech side as well, but we'll head on to some tech names here. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that of course is in the description below as well. Grab some water here. Yeah, what's up everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Good morning. Let's go on to Tesla here now. Time frames analysis to execute your swing trades. They're going to be on the 15 and 1 hour time frame. They're just basically on anything above the 1 or 5 minute. I personally love swing trading on the 15-minute and hourly chart. Okay, let's go on to Tesla. So Tesla, first things first, as you can see, showing a little bit more relative weakness here. Key levels that we have marked out is really this 468. So this 468 here was key. Ultimately, we ended up breaking underneath this, kind of staying heavy underneath this level. We saw a little bit more downside, but not really too much going on here on Tesla. If you go back onto the lower time frames here now, the key levels that I do have marked out is this 466, as I mentioned. Now I have your previous day lows marked out. Currently, we're kind of gapping back right in between its previous day's range here, right in between equilibrium. So for Tesla coming into market open, if you want to see some if you want to see some upside, we can be looking for the bounce play off of our 460s for a pushback higher. Or now it's really going to be above our 466 for this continued push towards the upside. Right now, I'll be a little bit more cautious, as I mentioned, just because we are opening up right in between its previous day's range. If we're looking for some short side opportunities on Tesla, we could be looking for the pop and fade off your 466 for this continued pushback towards the downside. Or now, it's really going to be underneath your previous day lows, 458 for continuation lower. So this is what we have on Tesla coming into today, up in between its previous day's range. I'm going to be a lot more cautious, and I'm just going to wait for a clear direction on the overall markets. Let's go on to the next name, which is going to be NVIDIA. Hopefully the stream is fine here as well. I saw it just kind of cut out just a little bit, but this is what we have. Let's go on to the hourly time frame. Let's remove this. So coming into today here for NVIDIA, the key levels that we have marked out is going to be this level of consolidation. So you can see consolidation here. If we're looking at this on the hourly time frame, currently we kind of have this potential head and shoulders forming. If we can break back above our 189, we can see some continuation higher, but that's only going to be above this key pivot high. So let's go back onto the 15-minute time frame. Currently on NVIDIA coming into today, we actually have a couple key levels here. So we kind of have this 189 key pivot point. We also have your previous day highs here as well. So there's really two levels. Above your previous day highs, we can see some continuation. Or now it's going to be above this 189. So let's actually mark out your previous day highs, and then we can drag it down into our last week's Wednesday's highs here. So for NVIDIA coming into market open, what I'd like to see here is really above your 188 for continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario, strong push right off the bat, and we can be looking for longs above our 189.50s. So for NVIDIA, this one really has been a little bit stronger the past kind of couple sessions here. Last week, we ended up having a nice push towards the upside. So if anything, we can keep an eye out on NVIDIA, as I mentioned, above our 188.50, or now it's going to be above our 189.50 for continuation higher. Ultimately, if we do reject off of their previous day highs, then we could be looking for kind of the fade right back down in towards our previous day close, which is going to be, previous day lows, which is going to be this 187. So the key level for NVIDIA, as I mentioned, is going to be this 188.50 on this ticker. We'll keep an eye out on this. This is one of my favorite names for continuation higher. Let's go on to AMD. I actually do like this one quite a bit. A lot of the semis are shaping up nicely here as well. So for AMD, you can see a lot of consolidation really the past couple of weeks on AMD. Now, if we can see some buyers kind of step in, potentially we can see this nice pushback towards the upside here. So let's keep an eye out on AMD. You can see a lot of consolidation the past week. Now we're going to try and break back above this level of consolidation, right? We end up consolidating here, broke underneath, instantly got bought back up. So now if we can get back above our 216, we can see some nice continuation higher. So for AMD, as I mentioned, let's keep an eye out on your 216, which is now basically our previous day highs and our last week's highs here as well. So let's mark this out. Maintain above that 216, we can see this continue push higher. So AMD and NVIDIA, let's keep an eye out on this coming into market open for some upside here on the semiconductors. Let's go on to the next chart that we have. Actually, one second. Sorry, just received a phone call. Let me go back onto the next ticker that we have here now, which is going to be Apple. Let's go on to this ticker here. Let's go on to the hourly chart. So as you can see, just a lot of consolidation on a couple of these names. So not too much to talk about here on Apple. You can see we're bouncing off this 272, right? Potential bounce play off this one for continuation towards the upside. But really not too much I'm looking at here on Apple. Google, similar thing, kind of bounce off key levels. 312, not much volatility on really any of these tickers. Meta kind of pushing towards the downside, seeing a little bit of buyers here in the pre-market, but not too much. Key level is going to be that 660. If we can break above 660, we can see this continue push back towards the upside. That's going to be key here on Meta. Amazon, a lot of consolidation. Key level on Amazon, I still like this one. A lot of consolidation here as well. Potential bounce play off your 331, or now it's going to be above your 333 for continuation towards the upside. That's what we have on these tickers. And then for Microsoft and Netflix, not too much else going on these tickers as well. So tech really lagging behind. That's kind of been the theme the past couple of weeks here. Coming into end of year, tech has been really lagging behind and kind of been sold into compared to the ES and SPY, which is at all-time highs. So that's why it's been a lot more difficult and there hasn't been too much continuation specifically on the tech names. But now we'll go on to some other names that we can keep an eye out on coming into today. So if you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. Let me grab some water here, and then we'll head on to a few other tickers. Let's go on to a few other tickers here. Let's answer some questions as well. Yeah, I'll take a look at some of those names. Let's see. Do you hold swings overnight and sell the same day? Yeah, majority of the time swings will be overnight positions, but sometimes if you get a really good entry and it moves quite fast, then you can be looking to sell on day number one and leave some trailers. But yeah, let's go on to a few other names here now. So if you guys do have any charts, you guys can drop them in the chat. Go over them for probably the next kind of 5 to 10 minutes. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. So Palantir, not too much to talk about. Key levels that we have marked out yesterday is at 187. Kind of had the fade right off the bat towards the downside underneath this 187. Now for Palantir, key level previous day lows along with that previous day highs. Longs will be above our 187. Shorts will be in play underneath that 187 or now underneath that previous day lows. Let's go on to some of the major indices. Let's go on to SMH along with IWM here. As for IWM, you can see nice kind of fade off of our key levels, which is that 252 along with that 249. If you want to see some upside, it's going to be above that 252 for continuation or the bounce play off our 249.50 for a continuation higher. If we're looking for some shorts here on IWM with this consolidation, it's going to be kind of the pop and fade or now underneath that 249 for that continuation towards the downside. So this is what we have on IWM. If you look at the SMH, you can see SMH is actually fairly bullish, and now we're holding above key levels, primarily because of MU. You can see MU has been one of the leaders the past really 20 to 40 days. That's really what's been holding up the SMH, and that's what's been holding up a lot of these tech names here as well. But you can see SMH, really nice bounce right off our key level of support, 462. And 362, and now you can see kind of buyers are stepping in right off this level. Now if you go back onto the lower time frames, key levels that we have marked out is going to be now just your previous day highs, and we kind of have this pivot point here from Friday of last week. If you want to see some upside here on SMH, now it's going to be above your 365 for continuation. Another possible scenario, kind of this previous day high retest right off the bat for this continuation higher. So really my favorites are of course the semiconductors towards the upside, as I mentioned earlier, primarily just because of the SMH, and of course MU has been showing some relative strength for continuation higher. So we'll kind of quickly go on to some of the semiconductors here. But as you can see, MU, this one's been in a fairly nice trend, and every single major dip has primarily just been bought up for a continuation higher. So if we're looking at this name, ever since we had earnings from a couple weeks ago, every single major dip has been bought up, right? Every single higher lows have been bought up, as you can see here, and we've just been continuing higher. So for MU, if we're looking at the key levels that we have marked out, we have your previous day lows. Now we're at a brand new all-time high. So we can mark out our previous day. Sorry, this is our previous day highs. We can kind of just drag out this general level, which is our 294. So if we do want to see any sort of continuation higher, it's going to be above our 294 for this continued push higher. So for MU, let's maintain above your 294, and you can see continuation towards the upside. So we'll keep an eye out on this one for today, that pullback long back down in towards 294. As for a few other tickers here, yeah, not too much. AVGO kind of consolidation, key levels that you're going to have marked out is going to be this 344, along with our high that we created on last week, plus your previous day highs here as well. So it's going to have to get above key levels if you're interested in some long positions. As for a few other tickers that we have, let's head on to silver, since this one has been moving quite a bit. So silver, as you can see right here, has been one of the names that have been showing a lot of relative strength. Really nice higher time frame setup here. Yesterday, a little bit of a pullback, but ultimately now we are right back above key levels, which is our 68.50. So what I'd like to see coming into today is a pullback long above your, pullback longs back down in towards our 68.50 for continuation higher. Another possible scenario, if we do break back underneath your 68.50, is you can be looking for a short back down in towards our 67 higher time frame key level. So this is what we have for silver, something to keep an eye out on just because it has been quite volatile. So you can keep an eye out on this one just for some trading opportunities intraday. Besides that, let me kind of go over my game plan. I might go over a couple more tickers here, but really not too much I'm looking at coming into today just because the volatility has been quite low here with the major indices. If we're taking a quick look at the VIX, you can see the VIX is still fairly low. We're at around a 6-month low here on the VIX, closer to really 14. So that's why there's not too much follow through and momentum in the markets. When the VIX is around 14, just understand very little volatility. Volatility in the best time to day trade is when it's above 20 or close to 20. So this is what we have on the VIX coming into market open. So just be more cautious. The game plan has been the same the past couple of weeks. Just size down, be more patient. If you are taking any trades, right, stick to that 5-minute time frame, and just be a lot more cautious, especially in this market, just because there isn't too much opportunity. But coming into today, let's kind of quickly go over my game plan once more. And then I'm just going to get ready for market open here. But coming into today, we'll keep an eye out on the SPY and Qs right in between the middle of the range coming into market open. So I just want to be a little bit more cautious right off the bat. I am going to wait for that first kind of 15 to 30 minutes to play out just because we are in between its previous day's range. Similar game plan here on the Qs. We are opening up right in between the middle of the range. So I'm just going to wait for that first kind of 15 to 30 minutes to play out for a clear direction here on the SPY and Qs. As for my main watches, I'm going to keep an eye on the semiconductors. SMH is holding up nicely, as you can see right here. It's closer to your previous day highs. NVIDIA, AMD showing a little bit of strength here in the pre-market. So I'm going to keep an eye out on the semiconductors for some more upside here. AMD, of course, above our 216 for continuation. NVIDIA, the key level that we have marked out, is going to be the 188.50 for a push towards the upside above your previous day highs. Besides that, yeah, I don't really see too much else I like. I'm just going to focus in on the semiconductors, AMD and NVIDIA. We'll keep an eye out on some other semis like MU here as well for a pullback long back down and towards your previous day highs. But yeah, that is most likely going to be it for me today. As I mentioned, it's just holiday season, so if there's any time to take off, we mentioned the last 2 weeks of the year. Hopefully we'll see some more price action and see some more volatility kind of coming into the New Year's. But yeah, with the market holidays coming up, right, very little volatility. Just be a lot more cautious, especially if you are day trading. Holiday market sucks. I completely agree. Yeah, market's very slow. There hasn't been too much in the past kind of week and a half. I've only taken 2 trades, and really nothing's going on in the market. So something to keep in mind. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. I'm gonna get ready for market open here. As I mentioned, just be cautious during these holiday seasons. If I do see anything, or if the volatility starts to pick up, or if I see any sort of kind of higher time frame setups, I'll let you guys know. Besides that, I'm gonna get ready for market open here now, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Peace.